Let's learn about the Electoral College. It's easy to understand why people forget how it works. It's kind of use it or lose it. We only use it every 4 years. So it's kind of like, ooh, you got to refresh your memory every presidential election cycle. So here I am, refreshing your memory. I'm not a political pundit. I'm just going to give you facts about how this system works. You can then make your judgments about whether you think it's a good system or a bad system.
She's known as America's government teacher on social media with more than 1 million followers. Sharon McMahon is a former high school teacher who made it her mission to help people better understand how government works and to combat misinformation online.
Her new book focuses on some of the most interesting and impactful people in history who aren't highlighted in textbooks. It's called The Small and the Mighty, 12 Unsung Americans Who Changed the Course of History from the Founding to the Civil Rights Movement.
Sharon, good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
So how did you fill this hole that were you watching social media and you hear kids, I mean, I hear my daughters will say things that they heard on TikTok and spewing it like it's fact.
Yeah, there were a few people who were confidently wrong on the internet in 2020.
I like that. Yes.
Yes, and I realized that I could either spend time arguing with them individually or I could start making some videos that would hopefully live a little longer than a social media comment.
So how did they take off? Was it a post on the Electoral College?
Yes,
What was it?
Yes, it was stuff about the Electoral College, and then people started sending it to news stations, and news stations around the country started having me on as guests, radio stations, and the rest, as they say, is history.
The Electoral College has been a more controversial issue in more recent elections. Has it outlived its intended purpose? And what do you say to people who say, because of the Electoral College, I'm not in one of those swing states, why should I get off the couch and go vote?
Great question. Well, the Electoral College was never intended to use winner take all. The way that we use it now is not how the framers intended it. So whether it has outlived its useful life is certainly a matter of opinion, but I don't think we can say that we're living in a time that is like the framers intended for us. But in terms of why you should get out and vote, there is only one office that is affected by the Electoral College. Every single other office is decided by popular vote, and those affect your life in huge ways, perhaps even more so than the presidency.
Other than the Electoral College, what was the biggest thing you see people getting wrong? What misinformation thing was driving you the most nuts that you had to go post something about?
It was things about how the government, just basic government facts about like what would happen if everybody died in a nuclear war, who would be president, who would be, the line of succession. People are very curious about who will be president if everybody dies. So they were just things that were, I knew from my years in the classroom, but that people apparently didn't learn when they were in high school or had forgotten.
Well, what I recall, it was a lot of memorization, a lot of multiple choice quizzes. How is civics being taught? Is it being taught? Is it getting squeezed out?
It is. I mean, the amount of money that's spent on civics education is very paltry compared to what we spend on other types of education. And a lot of people graduate high school with only one semester of civics. Some people might get a full year, but it's like anything. Do you remember all of your high school Spanish? Do you remember all your geometry? If you don't use it, you lose it. And because we only use it every 4 years, it's easy to forget.
You wrote a whole book about people. There's always talk about, textbooks not being updated. There's a lot of history that is not in the textbooks that students are learning. So what did you put in this book that you wanted people to know about specifically?
This book profiles 12 unsung Americans who changed the course of history. And these are people who are not presidents. They are not titans of industry. They are not the people who changed the Chicago skyline. But these are people who were teachers, who did things by just putting one foot in front of the other that ultimately had a huge impact on what the United States would become. And it's time that we learn some of their names too.
Give us an example of one of them.
There's a woman named Septima Clark who was a teacher in South Carolina who gets fired from her job. She's falsely accused of something. And because she is fired from her job, she ultimately becomes the mother of the civil rights movement and ends up teaching a woman named Rosa Parks and training Rosa Parks to do what she does. So her impacts, Septima Clark's impacts today, are still being felt.
Unbelievable. Well, you can see Sharon McMahon tonight at the Vic. What do you do when you're on stage at the Vic? I'm just curious.
I make people laugh. It's like part comedy show. It's part history lesson. It's part motivational speaker. It's a good time.
That's awesome. Well, you can go to the website and socials for more. There's the information, and there's her book. Sharon, thanks so much. Keep informing the masses.
Thanks for having me.
Great, thanks.